Good evening, good night, everyone. I'm attorney Sharnette Noyes here at Noyes and Associates, and I'm here with my husband Juan Hiron Sanchez.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. We're sorry we were a little bit late. It was a hectic day today here at Noise and Associates. We are a firm of immigrants for immigrants. And to us, as a family, that just means that we're here for more than just your immigration papers. We're here to fully support you and your family in all of your endeavors, whether it's
Yes,
business, whether it's financial planning, bankruptcy, trust and estates. Pretty much, we're here for you. Okay.
that is true. We are here for you. We are, as I said, a firm of immigrants for immigrants. We don't just only care about getting you your immigration papers, but if you wanted to buy a house and you're in Connecticut and you need an attorney to help with the closing, our office can also help you facilitate that. Um, we here tonight topic is humanitarian parole and advance parole. And when you,
Absolutely. And this is, it's just, we were talking just right before coming onto the live about how ironic it is or unfortunate, or honestly, sometimes you don't even find the words because we came to this country, from a very young age as first generation immigrants in the
well,
sense
second
of
generation.
second generation immigrants in the sense, but well, it's really first because we weren't really born here. We kind of rode the wave of our parents and settled here, um, and had to learn these things the hard way, right? So we didn't have, wealth. We didn't have mentors or access to knowledge and resources about how to navigate things, and I feel like we've made so many mistakes in, us reaching the the level of what we are. And obviously, God has blessed us. We're very grateful. We
Yes,
always want to give thanks, but we also want to talk about some of the pitfalls, some of the issues, the difficulties that we see people constantly falling under. And one of them is people who ignore the immigration situation. They
yes,
worry more about their lives back home than
yes.
what they do about their reality and their life and situation here. And it's sad.
It is. Um, as a topic, our discussion is humanitarian parole and advance parole, but the title of our podcast is DEPORTEE'S CORNER. And before we even go into this, I just wanted to talk about a story, give an example of a story I was hearing about a person who was here, been in the US for 30 years, got married to a US citizen. Bona fide marriage, they have a child together and everything. Never thought in his mind to let me get myself situated. Let me get legal. He was comfortable being undocumented um and living. He had like maybe about 2 or 3 DUIs. And when he did that, now he got arrested. Now immigration is in play because now immigration ICE has a detainer on him. He got picked up. Now he's been deported back to his home country. Wife divorced him, but he had options. I know he's wishing that if only I had made better choices. Got my wife to file my papers, not because it's for immigration only, but because we were in a bona fide relationship.
Right.
But he never thought about that. But I know right now, being that he's deported back to his home country after being in the US for 30 plus years, is wishing he had done something differently.
And I think, it does relate to the tonight's topic of humanitarian parole, and we will get there. But it's the fact that people ignore
Yes.
their immigration responsibility. At the end of the day, we're immigrants.
Yes.
We're from immigrants for immigrants, but we also have to respect the laws where
That is
we
true.
are in. And there are people who live vicariously through danger.
Yes.
They will
Take
drink
the
and
risk.
drive.
Yes.
They will go ahead and get into fights with people, just be in the wrong place, wrong time. And you find themselves that they miss out on so much from back home. We have people who, for instance, may have family members who are sick.
Yes.
Your mother, your father, your brother.
My grandmother.
Just how many funerals and medical emergencies, graduations, birth of children haven't people missed
Yes.
because they have just neglected their immigration status. They have kind of taken living here in the States, as for granted. And,
Yeah.
and and we don't mean that as a disrespect to anyone, but I think that if you're here in this country and you don't take care of handling your business, your legal status, you're just playing with fire. You're playing with your life.
That's a Russian roulette. I'll definitely say you're playing Russian roulette because you never know the day that you're going to get stopped or you're going to do something. You may be in the wrong place at the wrong time, got arrested for who knows what, and then you're now faced with a deportation. Am I going to be able to stay in the country? Is a judge going to be merciful on me and allow me to stay because I've been here for 20, 30, 60, or 15 years or whatever, 5 years, and I've no, this is my only one mistake. I've gotten arrested.
Right. But and there are those people who are, I almost feel frustrated when, especially when we are dealing with these difficult cases where the family is hurting,
Yes.
when kids are at stake, as far as like your well-being, to be a provider for your family. You're putting yourself at risk by not dealing with your situation, and then your kids end up without a father, without a mother, and sadly you don't have anyone to blame but yourself. Sometimes you want to say, oh, why the police is bugging us, why is immigration bugging us? Hey, everyone who's here legally in this country and undocumented has responsibilities to obey the law, to pay taxes, to
Yes.
contribute to the system so that the burden is shared across all of us who live here in this great, amazing country. And that takes responsibility for you to not wait until you are in you're between a rock and a hard place, but to make sure that you're taking care of your responsibilities to become legal. And this is why we want to talk today about advanced parole and humanitarian parole for both people who are here in the United States as well as are abroad. So, what is humanitarian parole? What is this advanced parole document?
Okay, so humanitarian parole um is a visa where it's the permission that the US government will basically give to somebody who's ineligible to be able to come into the US, whether it's for medical needs, if they had some type of ailments that they needed to come in for treatment, or they have a family member in the US who they want to come to help take care of who was ill, or someone that passed away in their family in the US and they wanted to come and attend a funeral. Or again, if you had civil proceedings, if you're like a witness into a criminal investigation or any type of case and you have a court date, they will let you come in if you're a witness in those things. So you can use the humanitarian parole for that if you're outside of the country.
Because we also have a lot of people who again run the risk. They feel like because there's just so much myth and when it comes to immigration, and what we mean by that is just people who hear about what the neighbor did, what the friend did, what the brother did. One of them
Yes.
is traveling within the country. So whether you're in Puerto Rico and you're traveling to the US or back and forth, taking vacations to Disney World, people really risk and play with their lives when they're undocumented without status, and they pretty much pretend like they don't have a
There,
legal issue.
that's true.
And then they find themselves when they're arrested by Custom and Border Patrol, or immigration picks them up, ICE picks them up, they get mad.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you have to look in the mirror. It's kind of like this tough love right now. Today is really tough love because we deal with so many cases of people who again have lost a family member and they cannot travel back home. What they can only do is send money.
Yes.
And how frustrating is that for a family, for a loved one to be sick, and for you not being able to wish them goodbye?
That is. It's um from experience. I've seen where close family, close people around me who had loved ones that passed and they couldn't go to the funeral. And
Or even worse, and I know this is maybe a little crazy case, but once there, if someone dies and then there's an estate and then it's probated, or there's the family's fighting for the land or for the money, and because you're here stuck in the US, you can't travel back home and claim what's rightfully yours and what's rightfully for your kids. So whoever's back home is taking your property, is selling the goods, is pretty much doing
Mhm.
all they want, and you just are standing here helplessly without being able to do anything or defend your rights. Because again, you are here undocumented and you haven't sought help or to educate yourself about the legal options that are out there for you and your family.
Yeah, because all right. So if we look at advanced parole is for those that are in the U.S. and needed to go travel abroad temporarily. With advanced parole, you can be a DACA recipient. So if you have DACA and you have family member back home and that have urgent emergency medical issue that there you need to travel, you can apply for a advanced parole. If you also have a pending adjustment of status application or VAWA application, you can apply for advanced parole to allow you to go out of the country temporary and come back and not you can face issues at the border, but a good percentage of the time those who have it they're allowed parole back into the country with no issues. um with advanced parole also, if you're refugees, you can use the get the advanced parole documents to allow you to go out of the country and come back in. Also, like if you have a green card and you want to go out of the country and spend maybe 2 years back in your own country or go somewhere else and spend 2 years for schooling or whatever the need is, you can use the basically it's called re-entry program parole, so that when you go out and spend that much time out of the US, you don't abandon your residency. You would come back in with no problem because you have those things. And those are things that you have to get before you leave for extended more than 6 months outside of the US if you're a green card holder. Um, and that's basically advanced parole in itself.
So, and advanced parole, there's this is just like we are checking right here, like the checklist that you would need. So, you would need a copy of your photo identity, like a passport, again, proof of refugee or asylum status,
Or your doctor's status.
yes, and two identical passport photos,
Yeah.
evidence of your last departure from the United States, such as airline tickets, boarding pass, as well as a statement explaining the purpose of your trip. So, for instance, we had a client who his grandmother is sick. She's very, very ill, elderly, and he wants to see her before she passes because everyone, the whole family is very emotional right now. This is everyone's mama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's grandma, someone's loved one. We all have those great memories with those people we love, and because of your immigration status, families aren't able to be reconnected and to be there for each other. They're limited to only sending money during these kind of emergencies. And this, if you have a pending immigration application such as TPS, U visa, VAWA, um, T
Adjustment of
visa, an
status.
adjustment of status, asylum, DACA, you're able to apply for this permit to go abroad briefly. And we have great news. We actually were at a conference a few weeks ago where we now establish relationships with the state representatives and senators for the state here of Connecticut. And it would be the same thing for any other states. We work cases in all 50 states. So if you, a loved one, your family, know anyone that needs help, we may be able to help your family during this humanitarian crisis. Okay. So we have to be able to demonstrate the purpose of your trip to the outside of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
which includes evidence to support the reason. So in the case of the elderly sick grandparent, getting medical evidence,
Yes.
pictures, okay? Those are all things that are going to help us along with your statement explaining the importance of this. And this is what allows us after we file to get our immigration receipt, which then we can go to a state senator, to a representative, to advocate on your behalf, to expedite based on the emergency humanitarian situation so
Yes.
that your case can be expedited. So if a travel document typically takes 3 months, try to get it in a week, try to get it in a month. We don't guarantee anything. Again, this is information is for educational purposes. It's not legal advice. It doesn't apply to all your cases. We would have to do a thorough analysis of your issue to be able
Yes.
to determine what immigration options are there for you. But again, for us, we have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with our job because we love to be able to help people and tell them yes. We can do this. And then when people come with crisis, it's frustrating because people have waited till last minute to try to do anything about their situation.
Yes, and then when they wait till last minute, they want you to drop everything else and focus on their case alone. And then sometimes when you kind of tell them that you can't really do that, they get rude, they get attitude with you, and it's kind of like you had time.
20 years, 30 years, 15 years, 10
But you had
years.
time. But with the humanitarian parole now, humanitarian parole is for those that are outside of the US who are not able to get a tourist visa and come into the US. And they are, again, have an urgent medical need that they need treatment and they can't find any treatment in their country. There's no specialist or doctor in their country can help them. So there is they need to come to the US because there's programs in the US that would be better fit to help them.
So one of those that we see a lot of is St. Jude's, for children,
Or a Shriner.
or Shriners, when there's cancer cases or just terminal diseases where there may be experimental drugs or treatment here in the U.S. as a last hope for a lot of these families, and they're just hoping to who are outside of the U.S. who want to come to the U.S. to receive that life-saving
Treatment.
support and
Yeah.
treatment. And I'm sure that you listening right now may know someone who is struggling with an illness, a disease, a child, uh, someone with cancer, someone who could definitely benefit from, again, humanitarian parole, something that regardless of their status when they're outside of the country. So let's say they were in Jamaica and they needed to receive medical treatment, we might be able to help them. We can't say we will help them because
Yes.
this is all based on the discussion of immigration.
Yes.
But the
Because
more evidence
the more
that
evidence
we
that you
submit,
submit, the more you can compel in your story is to whoever that officer is reading your file to help them to say yes, this is maybe a good person that we can give to. Because with when you do the humanitarian application, it takes about normally within 60 to 90 days they do make a decision unless you didn't give them enough information. If
however, COVID has definitely pushed back a lot of these times, which is why we're so grateful to now have relationships with our local state senators to get involved in these cases, because some people, we don't have 3 months to wait. We don't have 6 months. We don't have
yes,
9 months. I can just, share the story with my experience with this, with my aunt had cancer and she was being treated here in Connecticut. And my um, siblings, I'm sorry, not my
cousins.
siblings, my cousins wanted to come in to be with her
Yes,
while she was still in treatment, and how frustrating it was as for her, children being abroad, to not be here, to not be given the love and support that their mother needed. And again, these are all things that we experience, or we know someone who has experienced this. And again, just please educate yourself. If you know anyone who is going through similar issues, please give us a call back. Our phone number is 203 572 6748. 203 572 6748. Or you can call our 1-800 number or 1-866 number, 88 noise, which is 66937. Again, 1-866-88-66937, and explore what immigration options may be for you who are here inside of the US, or for that loved one who's outside of the US who wants to come here to this country to receive treatment.
yes, because one of the things too you have to also show along with the medical is that you have someone who can support you, financially sponsor you. Or if you have the funds yourself, you can show them proof of the funds that you will use to provide for your care while you're here in the US. Um, Most of the time, the humanitarian is given for 1 year. So you're entered into the US for 1 year to seek your treatment. If your treatment going to take more than a year, you can apply for an extension and it can go to up to 3 years. You can apply for extension for every year and so forth. Um, it's something that I've done before, and it's so close, as Juan said. His aunt was going through, and we were trying so hard to get it done, but because with COVID, it was just a lot of pushback, It was they were asking for more stuff and trying to get the documents from the doctors and everywhere. It was just so heartbreaking that when they finally decide to answer the case was like months after she had passed. But you don't we're saying that in the sense of don't wait till the last minute to try to get it done. Yes, we have created relationship with different senators and offices and so forth to try to seek their help to help push these things forward, but you don't want to wait too long
And
to
we're
get
we're
it.
still at the mercy of immigration's famous discretion.
Yes.
So regardless, they're the ones who decide. What we can do is just be proactive. Again, if you, your loved one, anyone you know is able to take advantage of these types of reliefs that are available, please feel free to give our office a call. Again, 203-572-6748. 203-572-6748. We work cases internationally, outside of the
Yes.
US, as well as all 50 states and territories, including the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Hawaii, Guam. Again, we have clients in Texas and Chicago, in Arizona, in Florida. What we seek to do here with this podcast, Deportee'S Corner, again, is to inform you of the experiences that people who have been in this country, have been deported from this adopted country, have experienced, and what they wish they knew prior to them being deported. So it's very heartbreaking and also encouraging, right? When we do have these success stories, but also these stories of failures. And we seek to bring you both. In
Yes.
our page, you'll be able to see testimonies about these great cases. And we'll also start discussing a lot of the failures too, because it's not just all success, especially when it comes to trying to help someone who unfortunately has made poor decisions. Next week, we'll be bringing you topics relating to good moral character, to more of the non-traditional ways in which immigration can take twists and turns, as well as some of the other traditional ways of immigrating, like families-based petitions, where you're
Yes.
happily married and you know f- uh, forevermore happy. But that's not everyone's situation. But we do want to bring you hope. We do want to bring education and just give you the opportunity again to explore what option applies to you. So please feel free to give us a call. We're located in Stratford, Connecticut. We're our wife and husband team. We seek to communicate and to educate our community so that people and families are making better choices to maintain their unity here in this country, as well as the dignity to return to their loved one in cases like today, again, when you would need advance parole if you're here in the US and you need to travel outside, or if you are outside trying to travel into the United States.
Yeah, and then even if we talk about it, love to talk about um our wins, and we do have a lot of wins. Last week we had um a client who was a VAWA victim. Um, Wife married him in one state, one town, and married somebody else in another town. Never told him that he was married, that she was married to somebody else in another town. But with all the struggles that he had to go through, it was a proud moment for him when he was able to pick up his 10-year green card, knowing that after all the struggle, all the suffering that he has been through,
After 13 years of leaving toddlers,
yes.
and that's another thing too that we don't tend to talk about is, not so much our life here in America, but the things that you leave behind as an
Mm-hmm.
immigrant when you come here. You leave your family, you leave your loved ones, you leave children. So many children have been left with grandparents because their
Mm-hmm.
parents are here in this country in search of a better future. So again, if you are here, if that's really your motive for you to come to America, right? Economic prosperity, to provide for your loved one back home, it should also be your responsibility to fix your immigration issue so that you can continue to be a provider. Ignoring to do that is careless.
That is true.
Again, we have so many people who they're here in America, but they're still thinking about back home, which is nothing wrong with it, except when you're spending all your money, all your resources, and you are ignoring to address your problem here.
Yeah,
That is problematic.
very much so. And but then at the same time, this week when we had a client who been through the system, through his whole immigration story with us, and just yesterday he was able to go and swear in, and yesterday he was now officially a United States citizen, and that's a proud moment for that client because his story has been just like everybody else. He left his minor child in Jamaica to come here for a better life for himself and for his kids. He's able to do all those things because he didn't just wait. He addressed this immigration issue, and that's the key thing about this is don't wait. If you have option now, if you have a chance, seek out the options that are available to you, because at the end of the day, we all have choices.
Absolutely. And we want to be able to share with you guys that story, those success stories. Really, we're so happy to see when clients really achieve their goal, achieve their dreams, see what the sacrifices that they have made have not been in vain. But that entails, being responsible.
Hmm.
That entails you definitely committing to your goal. Not
Yeah,
just your goal shouldn't just be, you made it to America and
that's
you're
true.
still undocumented.
Mm, yeah,
Like if that is your goal, again, we're from immigrants for immigrants. We can help. You should have, we should have more
that's a
goals
good
than that.
slogan.
And then again, it's a serious conversation, right?
It is, but it's a good slogan.
But we're here to help you with real estate. We're here to help you open a business. We're here to help you with estate planning.
If you want to open a nonprofit, we can help
We
you.
want to help you open a nonprofit. Just don't be uh how would they say in Jamaica? You just you on social media taking pictures of Times Square and you saying you here and you this and you that and you still illegal.
That boss.
You boasting and you're still undocumented.
Yep.
Like that to me is the definition of madness because you have sacrificed so much to be in this country. It is your responsibility and the people who are dependent on you back home for that little money that you're able to work and send to them. I don't mean little money in the sense of something demeaning, but it's hard earned money to make the
Yes.
people you love feel good, to support them. Don't play with that.
But they're not just only waiting for this. Some of them are not just only waiting for the money. Some of them want to be able to, if you, cause just like you said, you left your little kids back there. So the kids are waiting for you to do something to bring them here. They're seeing you on a video. Thank God for social media nowadays where WhatsApp, because you can
Yes.
do a video call to be able to see your loved one, but they want to be able to hold you
They want to
and
hold
they
you.
want to be able
They
to
want you
spend
to
time with
go
you.
to their graduation.
Yeah.
They want you to be part of their first walk, their first awards. I mean, geez, like how much do we immigrants, again, all immigrants from all time periods, have sacrificed for a better life? And luckily enough, we have laws and benefits today that can help you and your family, you and your loved one, be able to be reunited. Again, with this client here, is like really full circle. He has become a United States citizen. He has opened a business. We're just so proud of his American dream, which is
Yes.
how it ought to be. Not just boasting and posting pictures like things are good in America, because that's another issue. In my country, they say Dominicans are boastful. I think everybody's boastful
I
in the
think so
degree
too.
that people want to paint life in America like something is not.
Yes.
They want to pretend like everything is easy or that they got money, they got car, they got this. We're drowning in that. And on top of that, then we're not laying out the roots to create a real legacy for a better life and future for that sacrifice that we have made to be here in this country.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. America is great. It's one of the greatest, because the greatest country in the world. Everybody's trying to get to America. But when you get here, you have to do something about when you get here. There's another client who got her citizenship and came in to give her testimony about what it's like to trying to do it on her own and making mistakes, and then now going to a lawyer to be able to help fix the mistakes that she was making on her own. But in a sense, she was said, if she had to do it again, she would rather go straight to a lawyer than to try to do the papers herself.
And I think we have to deal with a community in which we have to really support each other and educate each other, because you have people who would rather go pay a coyote to bring them here undocumented
Yes.
than they would
To fix their problem.
a lawyer to help fix their problem long term. It's just because literally I bring you from here, from home to America. You rather pay money for that. But then when it
Mhm.
comes to legalizing and to actually really doing things right, people second guess and they doubt it. And I think a lot of it, and this is a reason why we're so happy to have this podcast, to be able to share about our day, laughs and tears and sadness of the spectrum, from
Yes.
good, bad, and ugly, but ultimately to instill people to have faith that in God, faith in that there's process, there are protections out there that can help you if you just give yourself an opportunity to overcome your fear, to get the right legal help, and allow a professional, not a notario, not somebody on the street, not where you see everyone's going, where fraud is committing, and you thinking that you just want that work permit, you just want the travel document,
Mhm.
because you see somebody commit fraud, and then you see them back home, and you want to be like them, and you go follow them right down the pit.
Yeah. That person may be able to get away with it, but then you may not get away with it.
Not only that, but sooner or later, God is watching everything. And on top of that, immigration and the government is as well. If you think you can get away with things in this government and that it's not going to come back to haunt you in some at some point or another, you are gravely mistaken. You are gravely, gravely mistaken. We instill again in all of our viewers, please share this information. Do
Yes.
not keep it to yourself. We have to help our brothers and sisters who are making mistakes to get their life back in order. If you are back home and you know that you depend on that family member to send you money, tell them to get serious about their situation.
Yeah.
They may be sacrificing the money they could use to help themselves, to help you. And there's a lot of pressures too that immigrants do have
That's
to
true.
be the saviors of their family. If you
Yes.
make it to America, listen, you've taken all of us out of poverty. When I have a medical emergency, I'm calling you. When I need to pay for school, I'm calling you.
Mhm.
If I can get married, I'm gonna call you. If the neighbor
Whatever.
breaks a leg, I'm calling you.
That's true.
And there's a level of, again, it's complex. It's a little bit, as immigrants, we do feel the pressures of being in America to be providers for our families and our loved one, but that sometimes put a strains in our ability to take care of ourselves. And it's biblical, right? You cannot take the
Beam out of your out
uh,
of somebody else's eye unless you take it out of yours. So it's the same thing. You can't want to feed everybody when you're not legal, when you're not fixing your legal situation. Because if you're focused on supporting family members back home and that day immigration pick you up, you're gonna go back home and be with them. They're not gonna look at you and want to give you anything. They're gonna say, "Oh, look at him. He was at America
he got caught.
and got caught and got
Like
deported now, and he don't have nothing. He come back so broke. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that." But they're not thinking about the time when you were here supporting them
everybody turns their back
when you're in need.
when you're in need, and it's sad, and we see it again and again. You know, I think we mentioned the story of the guy who was sending money to his wife to build a house, to buy land, and by the time he decided to finally leave America and go back home, he
You have
found that
nothing.
he had nothing, no money, no land, no house, and now at an elderly age, having to come back illegally to America to start over again from scratch. Like hearing about cases like that again is just so heartbreaking because it happens too much.
Yes,
So again, we work cases throughout all of the United States as
and
well as
international.
international. We want to help you avoid being in the deportee corner right here. We don't want you guys to end up there.
Yeah, you can call us, whether it's WhatsApp. We can do video conferences through Zoom or Google Meets. We do offer consultations to anyone whether you are international, locally in Texas, in Utah, New York, wherever you are living. We are a firm of immigrants for immigrants, and we take that very seriously. One of our thing is about education. We rather sit here and educate you guys so that you be informed. If you go to another lawyer, just be informed. Ask questions. Don't just sit and say, "Okay, sir," or "Okay, ma'am, where should I sign?" and have them just let you sign papers that you don't know what you're signing. You have to ask questions because a lot of people do that, and then these people that do that, they sign papers that they end up going into filing fake VAWAs or filing fake TPS or filing fake T visas or U visas. And then it comes back because a lawyer, a person who they think was a lawyer, didn't sign the papers. Only your signature alone is on it. So just be informed. And as Juan says, we really take it very seriously here at Noise and Associates about what we do for our clients, how we treat them, because we understand everybody's story. Because I'm from Jamaica, he's from the Dominican Republic. We have family members who have been through different aspects of immigration, and we understand it. So, thank you for tuning in. Like, share, and share.
Subscribe.
Subscribe
We're on
to our
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we appreciate the time that you guys have taken to even check us out.
yes,
We will be making more reels with a lot of this information. We know it's a lot. It's and sometimes it's we're kind of the bearers of bad news and good news, but even the fact that we're bearer of news makes people afraid to even listen in because they're so afraid of addressing their situation. So again, as a community, we have to become each other's teachers. We learn from you as much as you can learn from us. We want to hear from you. Please comment, share, like, subscribe, and please let's help more of our brothers and sisters avoid being in the deportees corner.
yes. Don't sit around and wait for the government to make an immigration reform.
We are so grateful for you guys, and we will be seeing you next week with more information of your interests.
Yes.